We are now live, sir.
All right.
So, what do you have to say
Welcome
for yourself?
to the human race.
Welcome to Zombocom. All things are possible at Zombocom.
The unimaginable is attainable at Zombocom.
It's like, huh?
This is Zombocom and welcome to you.
Yeah. I watched that for like a couple minutes and I was like, huh? But
I think it only lasts a couple minutes.
yeah, it kind of loops. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what Zombo.com, an old internet website.
Yeah, that's a recommendation nation from both of us.
Yeah.
Zombo.
That and
Trust
Mr.
us.
T ate my balls.
Yeah.
All those old websites. Mr. T ate my balls. Godzilla ate my balls. I'm like, what is this shit? It was so funny though. It was just like a random trend. It was like the first, like, I guess you would call like viral or meme thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so how are you, sir?
Good. How about you?
Good. Better now that we're doing the Buddy Shots podcast.
Yeah. Last one before the Halloween spectacular.
Yeah. The spooktacular. The booty shots spooktacular.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna legit like scare the fuck out of Matt every 5 seconds. He's gonna have like 10 heart attacks. Not really.
I think I just heard a skeleton.
It's coming from inside the body. Okay. So we are pumping this up, and then we will move on to nerd news here, sir. And do you have any nerd news? Yes.
I do.
Ah.
I have a good one this week.
Nice.
Because Marsha Lucas, who was the editor of Star Wars and former wife of George Lucas,
Interesting.
spoke out about the sequel trilogy.
Ah.
Did you hear about this? You hear about this? No, really, did you?
No.
Okay.
I was like, continue. Jay Leno style. Like,
I'm just gonna read her. There's a couple quotes that I want to read, and then we can talk about it. But first, she talks about Kathleen Kennedy, who's basically like running.
yeah, she's like the head of the Star Wars stuff right now.
She said, "I like Kathleen. I always liked her. She's full of beans. She's really smart and really bright, really wonderful woman. And I like her husband, Frank. I like them a lot. Now that she's running Lucasfilm and making movies, it seems to me that Kathy Kennedy and J.J. Abrams don't have a clue about Star Wars. They don't get it. And J.J. Abrams was writing these stories. When I saw that movie where they kill Han Solo, I was furious. I was furious. Absolutely, positively, there was no rhyme or reason to it. I thought, you don't get the Jedi story. You don't get the magic of Star Wars. You're getting rid of Han Solo?" And then she goes on. They killed Luke Skywalker. And they don't have Princess Leia anymore, and they're spitting out movies every year, and they think it's important to appeal to a woman's audience, so now their main character is this female who's supposed to have Jedi powers, but who we don't know how she got Jedi powers or who she is. It sucks. The storylines are terrible. Just terrible. Awful. What do you think about that?
Well, I guess if I knew she was gonna shit all over Star Wars, I would have like not done it all these years and just let her do it. It would have saved me a bunch of fucking like tears.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no secret that like George Lucas was super fucking pissed about like what they did to Star Wars,
Yeah.
himself, and it's like, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of what they've done with it, but it's like, I don't know. He sold off the rights to the story, and he gave like his treatments to them, and they literally just threw them away.
Yeah, they flushed him down the
Yeah, they were
toilet.
like, "Oh, thanks, George. Yeah, no problem." And they just threw him away. And he was like, "Well, cool." Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything really for me to say besides, you know, I completely agree with most of that. I mean, I feel like
the one thing
J.J. Abrams' part was not the beginning of the end for me for that, but not that like the first movie was perfect, but
J.J. Abrams, writer of Gone Fishing.
I don't think like it's any secret that like fucking Harrison Ford's been trying to get Han Solo killed for like 20 years now.
Yeah, that didn't super bother me.
Yeah,
as much as Marsha, but
yeah,
I never minded like all the criticism. Like, how did Rey get these powers?
Yeah.
I don't care about that. Like, who cares?
yeah. I don't like Star Wars.
I do
either.
agree the storylines are horrible and their movies are not good. So
The second movie was just boring as fuck. It didn't need to be a Star Wars film. It was like an episode of a bad TV show. Like, that did not need to be on the silver screen or even the bronze screen.
But the casino was kind of cool. All right, so sorry to bring up Star Wars, but Marsha Lucas, I think she was nominated for an Oscar for like editing the original movie. Like, she's
legit as fuck.
Yeah.
It's funny because
glad to hear she's all riled up now.
it's funny because like they have like her, and then like Deborah Hill was like working like John Carpenter's ex-wife or whatever. It's like there's always like super talented like women that are a part of like these awesome things that happened and do continue to happen. And it's like when she's saying like, I don't know, like insert characters are kind of bullshit. Like, I didn't really have an issue with like Rey. Really, it was just I had an issue with them pushing other characters aside for certain characters.
Yeah.
You know, the first movie had like probably two main characters, like Finn and Rey, and then the second movie was Poe and Rey, and then the third movie was just
and
Rey.
Rose.
And then the third
Don't
movie
forget
was
about
just Rey. And what's his face? Was always a big guy, Kylo Ren. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right, so bring us back with some positivity.
Okay.
What do you got?
I've got a sandwich here, 2 positives and a negative. So we're gonna sandwich it here. So Cobra Kai co-creator John Hurwitz says the series has an end game that goes beyond season 5 and teases a possible extended universe. And I was like, dude, I'm all for whatever they want to fucking do with like Karate Kid universe, honestly, because they've handled it so well so far, and it's like it's already been like season 4 is coming in a couple months, and they've already renewed it for a 5th season. So like, you know, I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but I'll take it until it's over with, personally, because it's been so good.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully they don't jump the shark at some point. I mean, most shows do, but up till now, like you said, it's been super high quality, so pretty much all trust.
I mean, unlike every other show and movie ever made, they're actually fans of the original source material. They're in it for the money, obviously, like everybody else, but they're not in it like they're fans first. I feel like, you know, It's like, and it shows. Just like, wow, they made a shit ton of money, and they're fucking fans of it, and everybody likes it. Wow, what if they had done that with Star Wars instead of just trying to get the money? Like, fuck you.
You're like, get that money!
Get the fucking... Not like when Star Wars first came out, like, George Lucas wasn't like, I don't want the money. It's like, yeah.
What are you talking about?
He's like, I don't want the fucking money.
Now make these action figures and give me the cash.
He's like, don't show me them. He's like, no, we need his cash. It's like, Jesus! No, we need his ass. So, yeah, I'm all for that. So, now let's move on to
Oh, no.
the questionable news, which you probably know what I'm going to say here. Actually, I'm going to let you guess. What do you think I'm going to talk about here?
The Mario movie.
Yes. I don't think it's a secret. I'm a fucking Nintendo fucking, like, fanboy. Or I guess, like, a mark, as you would say. And so, like, for them to finally make a Mario movie after all these years, like a second one, like an animated one, like, I was pretty pumped. And, like, they announced this in 2018. But it was one of those things where the only things people knew about it was that, like, you know, it's being made by the people that did Despicable Me. So, like, that's, you know, the first one was pretty good. But, like, you know, the animation is really what matters. And, like, Mario lends itself to CG, obviously, because they do that all the time in the games. So I was like, okay, this could be good. And then, like, yesterday they did, like, a Nintendo Direct, and Miyamoto randomly showed up and was like, "Hey everybody, I'm gonna talk to you about the Mario movie. Here's the cast for this fucking movie." And the first person they announced was Chris Pratt as Mario, and I was like, "What?" And then
record scratch.
Yeah, and then they and then yeah, I was like, okay, well,
remember that guy you hated in Jurassic Park?
Yeah, remember
now
that
he's Mario.
Remember that guy that's like super fucking like he's like, I don't know. I feel like he's super
upwards.
He's super pretentious, and he's fucking like, I'm a fucking super duper Christian, and not like that matters, but fucking I don't practice what I preach because I went out on my wife and left my kids. Like, okay. And then fucking they've got Anya Taylor-Joy, which I don't really know her, but like Princess Peach, I was like, whatever. I don't, she's that could be voiced by anybody because she doesn't have an accent. But like to me, I was like, Chris Pratt as Mario? Like, is he gonna do a fucking voice or what? Like, if so, why didn't they just hire Charles Martinet? So, I'm thinking this to myself, and then they...
you mean the beloved voice of Mario for over 25 years?
And then they say, oh, Charlie Day is going to be Luigi. And I go, what? Charlie Day, the, like, awesome actor, but he's always a goofy character? Like, okay, so I guess we're going more humor with this. And then that was confirmed because, like, Keegan-Michael Key is playing Toad, and Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong, and Jack Black is Bowser. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I love Jack Black, and like he's great in Kung Fu Panda, so maybe he'll like do a good job. But it's like they have people that already voice Bowser. Like, they have a guy that already voices him that like has been doing it for years, and it's like then they've got Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong, and I'm like, huh? What the fuck? What is going on here? Like, and then Charles Martinet is in the movie as supporting characters, but he's not playing fucking Mario, and I'm like,
to me, that's almost more insulting than not having.
No, I completely agree, because it's like you weren't good enough to be the voice of Mario after all these years and all the money you made us in the big screen adaptation. It's like
if you were the president of a company, and then they're like, okay, you can be in this new company, but you have to make coffee for everyone. It's like, wait, what?
Kind of like they kicked out fucking Willem Dafoe in the first Spider-Man movie. Out of the fucking Osborn company.
All backwards. What's with that?
I know. He turned into Green Goblin in the first act. So I don't know. I don't think I'm the only person that kind of was put off by that. Like, honestly, I think also like if they pick somebody else, because I feel like I always just feel Chris Pratt is so like ungenuine. Like, to me, if they had
he's one of those people that like everyone turned on at some point. Like, he was a golden boy for a few years, and then people, I guess, got sick of him, or I don't know. But
to me, like, he comes off as so like fake. Like, and I don't know. I'm not trying to be a hater here, but I guess it's because I liked him, and like he was fine in like the first Guardians movie. But, like, after that, like, I was like, I'm done with this guy. Like, this character sucks by proxy because of Chris Pratt. He's annoying. Like, comes off as a dickweed.
Same in those Jurassic Park movies. Like,
yeah, and it's
not good.
Yeah, he's got, like, the charisma of, like, somebody you want to punch, not somebody you want to, like, like, like that kind of a thing. Like, if everybody just hated Han Solo, like, go away, he kind of shit. It's like, get the fuck out of here. But they've also randomly.
We'll see if that movie's better than the one from with Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins is going to be a better Mario, but
no doubt,
baby. But I think the CG lends itself to like would be great for other Nintendo properties too. So like, hopefully this will open itself up. I'll still go see it, but I want us to definitely talk. I'm sure this will be one of our Buddy Shots podcasts when it comes out in 2022. We'll talk about the Mario movie, and it'll either be good or it'll be fucking shit. Hopefully it'll be one of those.
My only hope is that they try to just make a good, like, entertaining movie and not make it like meta and stuff. That's if they go that route, it'll be not good.
Don't make it meta. Use Weta effects. And the other news article I have here is actually related to Nintendo as well. They actually just announced that, like, you have a Switch, right?
Yeah.
So, like, the Nintendo Switch Online is actually they're going to make an expansion to this that you can pay for if you want. And they're going to offer, like, Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis games now on, like, their online thing, like they do with those other games.
Oh, nice.
So, like, the launch games are Super Mario. They're 64. Super Mario 64, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Mario Kart 64, which that right there, that's pretty much like, you know, Star Fox 64, Sin's Punishment, Dr. Mario 64, Mario Tennis 64, Win Back and Yoshi's Story, and then there's a bunch of Genesis games here that are fucking pretty good. And then they have a list of upcoming ones that they showed that are going to be, like, in it as well. So I was like, oh, that's pretty legit. Like, I don't know, I still kind of wish...
Pilot Wings.
I think that they lost the license to that. Right?
I always like that one. I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. They're actually making a movie off of that.
Starring Chris Pratt.
Willem Dafoe's gonna play the fucking rocket pack. He's like, oh, you know how much I sacrificed for this company? Everyone's like, yeah! Yeah, so one good thing from Nintendo, one weird as fuck thing from Nintendo. I was like, huh? Whatever. Could have a whole episode just talking about that shit. But we won't, because we have other things to talk about. Because up next, from us to you, is a very special segment that we, in this entertainment industry, like to call...
Recommendation Nation. Ding, ding, ding.
Dude, you should change it up every time. Like, you used to just do it, like, super loud, but now it's, like, ever since last time, you've been, like, kind of fucking with it, like, more and more. So good. Okay. So, what do you recommend?
Buddy Shotz Promise.
Oh, yeah.
My recommendation nation for this week is an album.
Ah!
That we've talked about before, and I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna have to get a little bit gross here, but which I try not to do. But my recommendation is an album called The Yellow River Boys.
Oh, this
Urinal
is gross.
Street Station.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, by Tim
Which
Heidecker.
is basically Tim Heidecker's album about piss drinking.
It's a good album. It's really.
Oh,
it sounds fucking awesome.
It's great.
Yeah. But all the songs are about, like, wanting to drink piss and shit, right?
Yeah. I'll read off the track listing here so you get a feeling. Hot Piss, Honky Tonk Piss Club, Slurp It Up, Piss Me Off, Mr. Mud, which you can guess what that's about. Truck Stop Piss Club, Hot Piss Blues, Someone to Piss on Me, Piss Pig Freak, and the ballad of the album, Hot Piss Drinker.
I'm a piss pig.
But it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke album, but the joke is, like, the songs are super catchy and good, and like, the production's great. Like, it's a great album.
It's kind of like the Return of Bruno. It's like it shouldn't sound as good as it does, and you're like, wait, what? Except for
then I'll let me read off who the Yellow River Boys are. On vocals, Charlie Rupert. On lead guitar, Leopard Pulwer. On guitars, Kit Graves Jr. On bass,
wait, on guitars?
Dud Nichols Jr.
So he plays more than one at a time, or what?
On bass is Dud Nichols Jr. On organ is Lou Pupper. Willie Christmas on drums. On pianos, Shelby Crick. And on harmonicas is Jarob Bean.
Which these are all explained to people. These are all bullshit names. Yeah, it's like...
But yeah, great album. Highly recommended. It's hilarious and great.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, I've... you sent me a couple of these and it always cracks me up. Listening to them. But it's surprising because it's good. So it's not like actually a joke. Great recommendation, sir.
Thank you.
You busted it out at the right time. So...
just when Buddy Boy Nation needed it the most.
Yeah. To wash the taste of actual piss of the Mario movie cast list out of my mouth. With real piss. So what I'm going to announce now to recommend is not piss. It is pure bliss. Castlevania Advanced Collection, they literally just released this on like all platforms. So like Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, like Steam. It's the popular Castlevania franchise that was on Game Boy Advance. Like there's 3 games in this: Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, and Area of Sorrow. So these are literally like the kind of like the spiritual successors to Symphony of the Night. And then from here, these were so popular that they spawned 3 more on DS. The Portrait of Ruin, Order of Ecclesia, and Dawn of Sorrow, maybe? I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because it's DS, Dawn of Sorrow. But the games are really fun. I don't know if people like... I don't know if, depending on people who play Castlevania games or not, the original ones were straight up like platformers and you got through the levels and stuff. The later ones, depending on, like, once Castlevania Symphony of the Night happened, it was more like Castlevania mixed with Metroid, mixed with, like, leveling up and, like, action RPG kind of stuff. And that's kind of how it's been ever since. That's kind of the way that I like it. So, but they don't make Castlevanias anymore, sadly. They just make pachinko machines, Konami, so... Or they'll do this where they'll re-release old stuff, which I'm fine to play through the games again. So,
no, that's cool. I'd like to play those at some point.
Only $20.
Ah, what a deal!
To fucks. So that is the recommendation nation. But we will now move on to not our main topic, but something that I like to call the Martin Kove Dancing with the Stars segment. So, I found out about this that because we're both fans of Cobra Kai, Karate Kid, and like Martin Kove by proxy, obviously, as John Kreese. And I've never really watched Dancing with the Stars before. Like, I've seen maybe a clip or 2 here, because there was one year where like somebody did an Austin Powers themed dance.
Nice.
But Dancing with the Stars, you know, most people know what this is, but it's like literally they get like people that aren't really like in the limelight anymore to be on the show, which I guess isn't really the case anymore because Martin Kove's like in Cobra Kai and like they had other people like JoJo Siwa and she's still like I think like a big thing. But that's also kind of what I think is weird about this show is it's like Dancing with the Stars, but it's like Martin Kove has no fucking dancing experience and JoJo Siwa is like literally like a Britney Spears kind of person where she just goes on tour and that's her whole thing is choreography and dancing. I'm like, how's this fucking fair? But having to say that, this was the first week for Dancing with the Stars season 30, and John Kreese of Karate Kid and Cobra Kai star fame, Martin Kove, are in this season. And so the first of all, the good news is he had like an entire speech like John Kreese style before he danced, and like everybody in the audience was like, "Yes, sensei," or like, "No, sensei," and it was like fucking awesome.
That's cool.
And then he danced to, like, You're the Best Around, like a metal version of it. But it was pretty legit. But he's, like, 70-something, so he wasn't really able to, like, you know, like, do, like, actual, you know, like, the stuff that other people would probably be able to do. I would assume he's probably going to get out next week, sadly. Because, like, he got the lowest score almost in the entire history of the show.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But, like, he gets one more week. Like, the first, like, week I read that, like, they don't kick anybody out. It's just kind of like a welcome. This is, like, all the people in the show. And then next week is, like, the first time someone gets eliminated. And the scores, like, I guess, add up next week. So, hopefully he kicks more ass next week. But, like, he literally did, like, a Steven Seagal, like, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Just, his partner did, like, most of the dancing. And he did, like, fucking karate moves and shit. And it was like, it was kind of weird, but like he had such a cool like song and like a cool like stage. Like he would like do moves and fucking fire would like shoot out of like a cobra behind him, and it was just so awesome. I was like, he should win the entire competition just for this, because people were like, you know, the dance wasn't really that great, but like everything that was happening, because it wasn't really a dance, but like what he did was so cool and the presentation was so cool that it didn't really matter. So, but
well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think the same thing happened with Billy D. Williams when he was on a few years ago. Like, he's just too old and like can't move very well.
Yeah, and well, I mean, like, he's like I think like Kreese is in awesome shape for like, you know, his age and stuff, because he's still able. He's doing karate and he works out and stuff for Cobra Kai and all this shit. But like, it's a little bit different than like dancing all over the place. Like,
right?
You know, it's like, because when he fights,
you can even tell in Cobra Kai. Yeah, I think we might say the same thing. Mm-hmm. But like whenever he's in an action scene, they kind of like cut around him.
Well, he's very like, also his karate is very grounded. Like he like people come to him and he's powerful, but like he's slow, and that's kind of how his like fighting style is and always has been, and it works like for his age. You know, it's kind of like Miyagi. Like Miyagi would fight and like just flip people and do all this other shit, and like, where he's not like, you know, someone that's like jumping all over the place and shit. It works for karate and it works for fighting because you can kind of ground yourself in the, like you were saying, they cut around it and he kicks more ass that way by proxy. But like, yeah, like when it's dancing, I mean, it's like he knows, like he's aware. So it's like, I think he wanted to go all out on that first show because he was just like, you know, he's just pretty much Kreese now. You know what I mean? Like, Martin Kove is John Kreese again for the foreseeable future. So it's just how, you know, how it is. But like I said, I just thought it would be something to be interested to talk about each week. But once I saw like the scores, I was like, well, maybe this will just be a 2-week segment.
Short-lived segment.
Yeah. But, you know, it's
all right. Well, I'll be rooting for him next week.
Hell yeah. I'm like, cast your votes. Fucking karaoke style or whatever, when they used to have people phone in. Like,
text this number.
Yeah. Text this number to fucking...
From your flip phone.
Seacrest. The fucking asshole. Okay, so we're going to move on now to this week's topic, nominated by Jake, Iron Eagle. So, Iron Eagle is a 1986 military action film directed by Sidney Furie. And it stars Jason, Gedrick, Lewis, Gossett Jr., or Louis maybe. While it received mixed reviews, being unfavorably compared to the similarly themed Top Gun release, oh my god, I didn't know it came out the same year. The film earned $24 million at the box office. Iron Eagle is followed by 3 sequels: Iron Eagle 2, Aces, Iron Eagle 3, and Iron Eagle on the Attack, with Gossett being the only actor to appear in all 4 films. Spoiler alert. Pretty much the premise of this film is a young pilot plans a rescue mission when his father, an Air Force colonel, is shot down over enemy territory and captured. So yeah.
Yeah, and this is one of the rare movies we've done that neither of us have ever seen, which is cool.
There's only been a handful of those. Like, I think, like, we had never seen Real Men. In fact, I'd never even heard of that movie before. Like, I'm pretty sure, right? Like, you hadn't seen Real Men before?
No, I'd never heard of it either.
And I'm trying to think what else. Was there any other ones that we hadn't seen?
AVGN.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. I nominated that one. Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool.
So.
Cool pick.
Yeah. It was definitely, like, interesting. I'll say that.
I think they should have called it Gold Eagle for Oscar Gold.
Ah! So I'll ask the question this week, I guess. What'd you think of this movie?
I wasn't blown away by it.
Yeah.
I thought it started out strong.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is going to be an 80s classic. And then it really dragged for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't super satisfying to me. And it was 2 hours long, and like, that's inexcusable. This movie should have been, if it was, you cut it down to like 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, pretty good.
No, I agree.
But on the positive side, I thought Louis Gossett Jr. was awesome.
Yeah.
As Chappie.
Such a weird fucking...
So like, pretty much any scene he was in, I was on board, because he was hamming it up. Like he has a couple Oscar speeches that are great.
Why didn't they hire this guy to be in Chappie?
Yeah, that should have been about this character.
He gets turned into a robot.
The guy who allows a kid to start World War III.
Right. But then again, like the country they go after is like literally defenseless. It's like Iraq or Iran, like. But
yeah, I mean it's a silly movie. I mean, this movie's not trying to be Citizen Kane. You know, it's just trying to be entertaining.
Right.
And, it mainly failed.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. I thought that like there were parts that made me like really like interested in this movie, but then there were parts that did kind of like drag a little bit. Like this could have been.
There's two scenes of Louis Gossett telling the kid to go to sleep. It's like, are these necessary?
This could have been like Karate Kid, like the next Karate Kid. Honestly, like this, but like it's the length is the issue with this film, because they even have like the bully thing going that like kind of gets resolved pretty quick in this film.
Yeah, and that was honestly my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, that beginning part was pretty out of control.
The snake or whatever, which I guess we'll get into, but I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so there were just some parts to it that were a little longer than they needed to be, but we'll get to them, I'm sure. So I guess we'll just start here. The beginning shot of this film is literally like, or the beginning of this film is like, his dad like over, I guess like airspace that he's not supposed to be in, and fucking like him and another dude are like fighting these planes, and like they shoot one of the planes and it like instant blows up. And I was like, okay, this is how this movie's gonna be.
There's a lot of that in there.
Yeah. But like there are two actors in the first few minutes of the film, they're like doing routine exercises, and apparently like while those like these enemies are like showing up while they're doing the exercises and start firing on them, and one of the guys gets hit and then says, "I'm going back to the base." And I'm like, wait, why did you guys straight up fucking kill like these enemies then if like escaping was an option? And not only that,
it was a weird scene in general.
Yeah, because the guy is also like, he's like, "Oh, my plane's fucked up," and he's like, "We'll go back to the base then, private," and he's like, "Okay." And then the guy doesn't retreat because he's like 4-1. These guys aren't taking any chances. I'm like, so you're fucking fighting 4 other planes? Like, why don't you just leave? Like to me, I was like, if that was a fucking option to just retreat, especially when like, like you were saying, like we're gonna cause an international incident. Like when you're literally just doing like routine practice exercises, like they weren't out there to like blow up anything or like, you know, get information. They were literally just out there apparently like doing some doing some drills. But then he's like,
they did explain,
let's fucking fight, and I'm like, Jesus.
I didn't understand, like, was it the dad's fault or was he not in the wrong?
Well, they were like, it like later on in the movie, they talk about how like where he was, like they don't recognize that as their like as international space, like the other country. They say that like the dad was in their fucking country, but like the United States doesn't recognize that. It's kind of like the neutral zone with like Star Trek, where like the Cardassians and like the fucking like Federation like fight over the neutral zone. And it's like, oh, well, you were actually in our space. But it's like tit for tat fucking bullshit. It's like, okay. Except for like, the people, like, it's like, it'd be like if the Federation was fighting like a baby. Like, these people are not equipped to fight the United States. But for some reason, they like, don't go in to save this guy.
Yeah.
But after this scene, like, he, like, you see him, like, I guess, like, what happens? He gets blown up or something. Or not blown up, but, like, I guess captured or shot down. But, the next scene is, like, the guy's little brother is hitting on, like, a junior in high school. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? Like, this is the only scene where, like, the fucking, like, little brother acts like a hard ass, because all the other scenes he's, like, just, like, a little brother.
Right.
I thought that's, like, it's like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Like, this character is going to be, like, you know, more of, like, grown up, you know, kind of. But no.
It's like, sorry, that was my little brother.
That was just, like, a fucking one scene. It's like, okay. ADR in this film pops up, says, can't, I'm late, as he's leaving. It's like, okay. And then I spotted Rob Garrison, known for being Tommy in the Karate Kid franchise and Cobra Kai, who sadly passed away, is part of the bully entourage in this film. He's like the guy that like they take up with them with the two other guys, and he like is told to like cut the dude's fucking oil gauge or whatever in the plane.
Right.
So,
like, kill him.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that was the whole thing that was like, what the fuck? He's like, they say it was over the top, and I say, no, here's the perspective. I want to fuck this guy's girlfriend. Kill him! It's like, Jesus.
I say no.
I say no. I feel like that was a weird thing in this film, because, like, I liked, like you said, I liked the idea of, like the whole bully thing, but, like, the bully was, like, a loser compared to, like, the main character. So I was like, how is this guy bullying this guy? Like, I don't know. But, sadly...
I thought he was a decent bully, though. It was kind of, like, slimy.
Well, yeah, but it just kind of it didn't make sense. It didn't add up. It was like, eh. Like, sadly, though, I have to inform everybody that Doug Masters, the main character in this movie, didn't make it into the Air Force Academy. They sent him a "we regret to inform you" letter, and he crumples it up and throws it away in the fucking trash. And in the course of the fucking 5-second conversation they're having, the bullies found it, uncrumpled it, and like run to the intercom at the drive-in eatery and begin to read it out fucking loud somehow. They like warp over there. I'm like, what the fuck? I couldn't believe it.
That leads to another of my criticisms is like, I was not really cool with the main character in this movie. Like, he was really, really bland.
Yeah, he's a little
really, like, deadpan.
Yeah,
like, he has no emotion.
Yeah, it's really weird because like he pushes for stuff a lot. Like he's the one that obviously like gets to rescue his dad and pushes for that to even happen. But like you were saying, it's kind of like he's just like,
I get he's like, you know, sad about his dad and like mad. So, but like, does he even crack one smile in this whole movie? It's like, dude, come on.
Yeah, there are parts too
where
he's also like his girlfriend is around him and he like doesn't pay attention to her, and I'm like, what is going on? This is so weird. Didn't you just fight some dude over her earlier in the film? It's like his motivations were just so all over the place for certain things.
Yeah, it made me think, like, if William Zabka was in this role, like, this movie would have been 10 times better.
Yeah.
Like, it needed a better main character.
But then, like, they have this race, and it's like Diddy Kong Racing. Plane versus motorcycle. Motorcycle versus plane. Which was weird as fuck, because it was like, I thought they were going to both race in a plane, but, like, they pull up to do this fucking race, and it's like, I'm going to be in a plane, and I have to stay under a certain, like elevation, because otherwise it would be cheating, and then the other guy just can cheat and it doesn't matter. Like, he took a shortcut, and like, and the guy, like,
I'd really like someone to explain the rules of how this thing
and
works.
then
like crazy,
the good guy won anyway, and then just like punches out the bat, like the fucking bully, and then you just never hear from the bully again. It's like, that's the end of his story.
Like,
yeah, he's like no longer a part of this fucking thing. There was a really cool stunt in this whole thing though, where like he like flew up and then stalled the plane and then like rolled back like over the mountain. He kind of did like
that was cool.
I was like, dude, this is legit.
And then there's the one shot from like the street where the motorcycle's like coming towards the camera and the plane is like right behind him. I'm like, oh,
it's like north by northwest.
Cool stuff. Yeah, that's one positive thing about this movie is like, I thought all of the plane footage was really cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I like watching that stuff a lot. So
yeah, it's like, holy
well
shit,
done.
They actually flew planes around and like jets and stuff. Right. It wasn't like CG or anything.
Yeah,
Or like on a
That's
stage,
awesome.
it was like you could tell they were actually out in the fucking sky. But yeah, like we talked about this, but how fucked it up is that Tommy, aka Packer, fucking sabotaged the guy's plane, knowing full well that he would die. I was like, and then he like won the race, punched out the bully, but now his dad's been shot down. It was like, it's time to go back to the base. I was just like, okay. But this leads us to our fucking well, good grief. Sorry, I'm over here fucking burping. I'm like, good grief. I meant to say good grief, and I fucked it up twice in a row. Okay, so good grief.
What? What the?
I fucked up. Okay, what can I say? So, what I was going to say is, it is now time to talk about the top 10 Behind Enemy Lines films.
All right.
So, you ready for this? Actually, I'm gonna let you. We're gonna do something different this week. I'm gonna let you guess at least one of the films I have on my list here.
I have one guess. Behind Enemy Lines.
Yes.
Yes.
Number 4.
Nailed it.
Yep. So number 10 is Overlord.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. Number 9, Valkyrie. Number 8 is Furie. 7, We Were Soldiers. Number 6, Star Wars: A New Hope. Number... Oh,
Not
fuck.
Attack of the Clones?
Well, I actually put Star Wars films, but not all of them have Behind Enemy Lines shit.
Yeah.
And then the one part in Indiana Jones when he has fucking Hitler sign his fucking Bible or whatever.
Yeah.
Or not his Bible.
The diary.
Yeah, his fucking Bible. Hey, Hitler, can you sign my fucking Bible?
Like, why would he bring his Bible with him? Good grief.
He's like, I'm here to the fucking book burning, and I'm gonna fucking burn the book. Number 4, Behind Enemy Lines. Number 3, Rules of Engagement. Number 2, Saving Private Ryan. Very, very good list. We got some good movies here. We've got some honorable mentions, video game wise. The whole Metal Gear Solid series. And number 1. What do you think number 1 is?
The only one I can think of is like the Terminator movies for the scenes in the future where they're like having the battle.
For like
That probably doesn't count.
behind it. I mean that could count. Yeah, I mean that's not what I have down here. But like, yeah, like Behind Enemy Lines films, you know, like, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to say what it is here. Number 1 for Behind Enemy Lines films, Escape from New York.
Oh, of course.
The premiere. That one's even more so because it's like the hostage situation rescue shit. So
Yeah.
and that's the
You
number.
didn't go
10.
with Escape from LA? Interesting.
I know. I went with a shittier film somehow. I think that's probably like the worst John Carpenter film.
Welcome, the human race. Yeah, it's probably bottom 5 for me, but there's still a lot of cool stuff in it too. So,
like when it ends.
yeah, especially that's the best part.
Because the film's finally over and you don't have to fucking suffer anymore. Actually, there's a couple cool things about that film. They update the theme, his
CGI sharks.
his jacket, the motorcycle, and that's about it.
The ending where he ends the human race.
Yes. There's too many negatives for me to go through in this podcast.
Don't forget the basketball game. That was great.
That's another negative.
All right, back to Iron Eagle.
So, what do you have to say for yourself? So they're like, the general's like flipping out, and he's just like, some of these fucking countries play ball a little different. And I'm like, yeah, well, when you shoot down and kill 3 of their fucking pilots, Like, what did you expect them to do? Just be like, yeah, no big deal. Like, I mean, yeah, even if, like, he wasn't in their territory, he fucking straight up killed 3 dudes. I'm like, okay. There's also a line here I wrote down where the general says, the dude says, I'm gonna get my tit in a ringer if the general catches me showing you this stuff. And I'm like, damn, that would hurt.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. I don't even know what a ringer is, but I guess I don't want it.
When you wring out clothes in the old-timey days.
And you
like
got
you could get something caught in
the
there.
general would get your tit caught in it.
Yeah.
For sharing military information.
Like, good grief.
God damn it. They're full of shit. We asked for a courier. Says the fucking dude that's not the general. I'm like, God, this guy's a fucking weirdo.
What did you think of the kid's habit of playing rock music when he's flying planes?
I thought that was kind of cool, actually. That was kind of an interesting little, like, it was kind of like a quirk that he had to, like, listen to it, because there's a part later on where he tells him to, like, turn it off, and it, like, fucks up his, like, shit, and then he turns it back on, and he, like, can't miss.
Dude, when One Vision by Queen came on,
yeah.
I was like, yes! I love this song.
Yeah, they had some really good songs play on this, so it was pretty legit.
Yeah, good soundtrack. Like, ultimate 80s.
So I have a note here, and I don't remember what this is for, but it says, everybody standing around, 2 people dancing. I'm like, oh man, look at this. It's great shit. I don't know what that means.
I don't either, to be honest.
I don't.
That's a funny note. Well, what was so awesome about it?
I don't know. I don't even remember anybody dancing in the fucking movie.
Me neither.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
Was it Dancing with the Stars? Like, you were watching that at the same time?
Everybody standing around, 2 people dancing. I'm like, oh man, look at this. This is great shit. So they have the trial, and his dad is like shit out of luck. They're like, we make the rules here, motherfucker. And I'm like, yeah, it's your country. What do you mean? No shit.
Yeah, the dad's played by Tim Thomerson, who I've seen in other movies be really good, and he was also kind of bland in this, I thought. Like, very, like, no emotion.
He didn't get a lot of, like, lines, honestly, in this film. It was like, you see him a lot in this film, but not a lot of actual, like...
Yeah, he's just sitting around, and it's like, it makes, like, why would we even want to save this guy? He's so boring. Let's get rid of him. Who needs him?
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was some stuff, like you said, like One Vision by Queen. That was awesome. Chappie, I've given this country 22 damn fucking years of my life! Like, okay.
That was a great speech.
Yeah. Flashback to the dad taking his son up in the plane.
Alright, this was amazing. Do you want to go, or should I?
No, go ahead.
Well, like, the scene is fine, but when they land, the dad starts yelling at the kid. It's like, dude, you brought the kid on a military mission. It's like, not his fault, it's yours.
Like, he starts playing I guess, like, because the whole reason why, like, he gets yelled at is because one of the other guys, like, knows pretty much that, like, he brought his son with him, because he finds out because he plays music while he's flying, and he's like, it's kind of weird. I thought
you could have got me kicked out of the military. It's like, no, that's your fault. Like,
it was so hilarious. And then, like, not only that, but the dad is, like, having him skip, like, class or whatever to do this. And then he wonders why he didn't get into the academy. There's a line here that I had to write down that, like, just, I wasn't really paying attention, and then I heard it and was cracking up. He says, don't come on, because he's like, don't, you know, it's like when someone's like, don't, you know, and they say, like, don't say this, you know, like, as in, like, but he says, don't come on me, Dad. Like, the dad says that because he says, come on, Dad, and he says, don't come on me, Dad, and I was like, okay. Jeez. Thankfully, he did not come on Dad.
Good grief.
I know, right? In 3 days, they're going to hang Dada. I was like, okay. There's an 80s hacking deal where like the kid with glasses is like hacking into this old as fuck computer that was like built before I was born.
Yeah, that kid was pretty cool.
Yeah, they had. I liked like mainly all the people in this movie except for like you said, like the main guy was kind of like boring. But I guess his dad was too, so maybe it just ran in the family.
My favorite hacking moment is like he distracts like the lady who's doing like putting together files on the computer or something, and then he presses one button to like break the computer.
Yeah, he like presses a button and it like scrambles up everything that was going on. Like essentially,
what button is that?
He like
the break computer button.
Essentially, like activated a screensaver that she didn't know was on her computer, and then she flips out and has to leave to go and put it manually somewhere else, and then he presses that same button to undo the screensaver that looks like coded mess, and then he can work. And I'm like, what? Which means it was probably something he installed on that computer when she wasn't there. Like, it's like, okay.
I just think back then, like people didn't understand how computers worked, and
it's like the same thing with Star Trek Next Generation, when you can do something so specific by pressing like one button. Like pull up the play or the song for this, and he presses like two buttons. It's like, huh? No fucking way, dude. Mom's trying to start me on this new diet. Holy shit! I was like that. The one dude's like dad that was like talking about how he was like gonna be starved to death. I was like, damn, dude. But yeah. Chappie has already drawn up some plans and ideas for this rescue.
Yeah, and this is the most boring part of the movie. It's like the planning and ideas stage goes on for so long, and like it keeps going over and over again.
They actually have a montage for it too.
Yeah.
Which just maybe has like 50 of those, which sometimes can be.
I'm always okay with a montage, but
I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a bit much.
You just keep saying yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just like, he said, oh.
He said, oh.
Then they go to an Italian restaurant and Chappie's eating ingredients off the fucking salad. And I was like, he's like, I'm going to take out this fucking gun emplacement here, and then I'm going to eat this pepperoni. And I was like, there's been pepperoni in a salad.
And they have the exact same scene where they made another model, and they're like, what's that over there? And he's like, that's my lunch.
Yeah, I was like, maybe if you didn't spend all this time making models, like you could just try to convince someone to come with you instead of a kid. It's like, damn, dude, this is like down to the T of what it fucking was, but like just made in like with models. And they had 3 days to fucking rescue him. Like, what if they decided to move the execution up? Like, fucking Christ, dude. Playing pretty loose with this dude's fucking neck, because they're gonna hang him. So we have to talk about this because we haven't talked about it yet. But the dad is being tortured in the Ministry of Defense. The entire Ministry of Defense fucking is torturing him. The Minister of Defense, who is played by David Suchet, best known for playing Hercule Poirot in like the famous detective films back in the day, and he's also like Jacques Lafleur in Harry and the Hendersons. He's the guy that's always trying to like find Harry and the Hendersons, and Harry, and then at the end of the film, he sees fucking that there are multiple ones, and he's like, holy shit, and he like starts crying. But like he's a pretty legit actor because he played like I said, like he was in all those like Hercule Poirot like fucking films back in the day. Now it's being played by someone else, but like, you know, he did it for so many years. But he plays like kind of the dude in this film that's like, he's kind of like the everyman's Saddam Hussein kind of in this film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he actually like goes out and gets his hands dirty in this film, which is like the funniest shit ever. But there's also some shit in this film that doesn't make sense. But we'll get to that. We already have. I saw it. So they're getting trained and ready for this mission. Because they got the team and the other enemy wishing that they stayed at home. I guess they did stay at home. But I'm ready for this. You're not ready for shit! What makes me any different than these young guys? Because they're fucking dead. And he like talks about how like all of his friends died in this one thing except for him. Like when they were over in like, I'm assuming it was like either like Vietnam or Korea or something. And it was just like, damn, dude, this guy's like fucking Crease. Except for he's not like an asshole. The part where like they're finally flying, and he's like, Chappie, what if I screw up? And he's like, then I'm gonna get really mad. And you don't want to see me when I'm mad. I was like cracking up. I was just like, but like, yeah, it's
like the acting is his acting.
Yeah, the way
he when he's flying
delivers it is like he turns into like this super emotional, like he's pouring his heart out to this dude. He's like, do you think my dad?
I was talking about the main dude, not Chappie.
No, that's what I meant. He's like,
okay.
He's like, do you think my daddy loves me, Chappie? I'm like, why'd you just become like 2 years old? You know what I mean? It's like, huh? Chappie, what if I screw this up? Then I'm gonna be really mad. I'm like, Jesus. I wrote a note that like some of the film has been entertaining that I didn't take a note like whenever there's the aerial acrobatics. I was like, dude, this is just legit. I can't really put any notes to this. This is just cool to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah. But spoiler alert, Chappie gets his fucking ass blown up. Or does he? But
this is what pissed me off the most.
About like about the whole thing, yeah. But like, so he's like, Chappie, and then fucking he has like this recorder that he's like recorded all these notes on, and they're so specific too.
So stupid.
He's like, you're probably wondering this exact specific thing, like. But he does
like, turn left.
Yeah,
turn right.
Yeah. It's like, huh?
What?
But he has like a really cool like speech that he wrote down here, or like said that was like, God doesn't give people talents that He doesn't want people to use, and He gave you the touch. It's a power inside of you, down there where you keep your guts, boy. It's all you need to blast your way in and get back what they took from you. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the rest of it was just so specific. It was like, what? He's like, now you're going to be coming up on the fucking first target. Now you're going to be coming up on this. And I'm like,
he became Obi-Wan Kenobi, but like not a ghost.
Right, and he was like somehow able to communicate through pre-recorded shit. Like it's more impressive. Like, it's like more impressive than Obi-Wan Kenobi because it was like, Jesus. So they bring out his dad and then like shoot him in the shoulder, and the son just fucking lays waste to the base. He's like, let's see how you like fucking not having any fucking oil. And I was like, good lord.
Okay, so the final action scene of this movie is pretty cool, but it started out and I was like, this is like G.I. Joe action where there's a lot of shooting and stuff, but you don't see the consequences. But then like that changed.
Yeah,
he just starts like killing everyone.
Yeah.
Like, so many people. What do you think the death toll was from this battle?
Well, a lot of these people,
in the thousands.
A lot of these people, it was their own fault because like he laid down that Hades missile, and people started driving through it and trying to go through it, and like we're just getting massacred.
Dude, that was the best part because it creates like a wall of flame.
Yeah,
right? And the military leader is like, attack through the flames. Like, these dudes just drive to their deaths over and over again. Like,
yeah, like so two Jeeps drive through and just flip over instantly and blow up.
It was awesome.
And like, it's like literally so high you can't even see through it. So like, he was also like, if people don't get in there and fucking take out, these guys, it's gonna be worse for you than if you had just died. And I'm like, what? But there was also a part earlier when he like blew up like the tower that like the fucking president guy was in, and like it blew up while they were in it, but then the next like scene he was not in it anymore. He was like on the ground. It like showed them
the way he would have been able to escape.
Right, because he fired he blew it up instantly, and the guys were just like teleported over to the right. I was like, cool.
That bully should have showed up here since he has teleporting powers too. That would have been awesome.
Dude, I was actually kind of waiting for him to show back up so he'd be like, I'm gonna help you out since you fucking
butchered like the rest of his army.
Dude, I would be like, oh fuck, committed a straight up murder. Like the general calls the pilots that are going after the son and dad that are escaping, and he's like, who's the most heavily armed? And he's like, you land, and then he like fucking takes over the plane, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Only in a movie. Good God, like instead of having those guys like go after him and have no consequences to him, he like wanted to take them on himself. And it was cracking me the fuck up, and like all the other guys were destroyed, and then this dude fucking shows up, and like this is like a boss fight straight out of like the end of a video game. He's like, now you must deal directly with me, or he's like, now you must deal directly with me now, Colonel Nakir Nakesh. And I was like, and then Doug Masters is like, and you can deal with me, Doug Masters. And I was like, fuck off. But that part about like when he said that, now you can deal directly with me, Colonel Nakir Nakesh, I was like, huh? Oh my God.
The greatest villain in movie history, Colonel Nakir Nakesh.
And then fucking they blow this fucker out of the sky. And he goes, so long, asshole. And the guy goes, ah! And I'm like, holy fuck. Like, it blows the
I love the comical
up.
Scream right before he explodes.
Also, like, he seemed to, like, not, what's the word, like, understand that it was going to happen. Because, like, when it happened, he was like, he seemed like he was, like, going to juke to the left or right with his plane, and then he, like, was like, oh, fuck! And it was like, boom! And I was like, huh? Like, okay. So at the end of this movie, Chappie lived.
Yeah, and I hate when they do that.
You know, the way that they did it was so stupid, too, because he was like, I just fucking swam for a bit, and they picked me up, and I was like, what? Like, you know, the odds of that are, like, you probably would have drowned before anybody would have found you, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess it's
like,
yeah. So they brought him back, and it's good that, like, he was able to be in more of these movies, I guess, but it would have been, it was kind of like a poetic death because he kind of died the same way that he described his, you know, comrades dying the same way.
Well, he also
like he was able to survive somehow.
They had it was one of those things where they like had their cake and ate it too, where they were like,
right.
They wanted to have this.
It's so manipulative when movies do this.
Yeah, it'd be like if fucking at the end of Star Wars: A New Hope, Obi-Wan showed up at the end and was like, actually, I fucking I used the Force to fucking, you know, teleport myself out of the Death Star at the last second. I'd be like, okay. Like, yeah. Like you said, he's a cool character, and it's cool that, like you said, it's like nice that he was in these other movies, because I guess if not, there would be no other movies, because he seemed to be the only person that, like, was in the other ones, but, like, at the same time, it kind of, like, you know, like, they wanted to have their cake and eat it, too. They kind of shit on the end of the film, or, like, at least his, like, significance of dying.
Yeah.
So... But then again, like, I guess they would have kind of had to change the end, because at the end, he, like, is like, this guy should totally fucking go to jail. And by jail, I mean, I want him to be nominated for the fucking disciplinary place of, like, the, what's it called, the Air Force thing. And he's like, Chappie, thank you. And I'm like... Also, there was, like, a part in this film where, like, he's like, Chappie, you knew my dad? And he's like, no, but I know men like him. And then, which was a fucking lie, because later in the film, he says, oh, you knew my dad? Or, like, and he's like, yeah, I talked to him about this, and, like, he came in and, like, these people were treating me bad because I'm black. And he was, like, saluted me. And I'm like, so, what the fuck? Was that just, like, a red herring, or what? You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like you were saying, they wanted to have multiple scenes with slightly different things to have, like, their cake and eat it too. So they had, like, a montage with them doing, like, the planning. And then they had, like, planning without music. And then they had, like, him die. and have all these awesome speeches and like, you know, Obi-Wan shit, but then at the end he was able to be like the cool Miyagi, like give the thumbs up thing, and then like, you know, I didn't know your dad, but he's such a great guy because I know what kind of a guy he is. Actually, I have this personal story about how he's not a racist. Like, okay, like there were 2 like films going on in this movie, and it was like, it. I guess at the end of the day, it didn't like make me like hate the film. It was just kind of very weird. It's like, you know, like you were saying, they could have just cut this down to 80 minutes, and it would have been like probably like a fucking classic.
Yeah, totally.
I do have to say, like, at the end of this movie, I was a bit disappointed because they had yellow credit text on a blue stock screen. It looked like
that was weird.
It was like a fucking bootleg movie. I was like, was this?
Yeah, why'd they do that?
Yeah, I thought it. That was so weird because I was like, what the fuck is the point of this? Like, or not the point of it, but what's the point of this fucking credit sequence? Like, what was...
Like, was this done by Blockbuster Video?
Yeah, exactly. It looked like... Thank you, you know, like, you probably want to know how to fucking sell, like, Mary Kay products, and, like, the end of the fucking VHS, it's like, this is the credits. It was like, this...
You could learn about electronics, TV, VCR repair.
Count some coins. But it just reminded me of, like, a straight-to-VHS thing, not, like, something that would be in the fuck... And that's actually how I kind of felt about this whole movie. Like... It felt very low, like, not low budget all the way, because they had, like, all these planes and shit in it, which probably cost money, like, but it had that feeling of, like, this is almost kind of like a, after-school special kind of thing. And I think it was mainly down to, like, the main actor. Like, he was very, like, not charismatic.
Yeah, it's definitely the B movie compared to Top Gun's A status.
Beautiful versus awful? Or awesome versus bonerific? You decide. Do you have anything else to say about this film, sir?
Well, my last question is...
Where am I?
Would you like to fly in a jet someday, just to experience that?
Just like a trick question. Are you going to be like, if I say yes, you're going to be like, you have to fly in one now?
Like, look out your front door.
You like look down, and I'm like flying in a jet right now. I'm like, fuck.
No, it's something I've always wanted to do, and I wondered if you would.
I don't know. I mean, I have a real problem with heights, and like whenever I've flown in a plane, like I almost always have to listen to like an audiobook. Because sometimes I have that constant fear of fucking we're going to crash and die. So I don't know if that'll be the thing for me. I know that you've, like, skydived before.
Yeah. I'm not, like, Mr. Extreme. I want to always do extreme stuff, but it's just, like, the skydiving. I wanted to do it once just to experience it. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could do that, but I feel like that's something that I just wouldn't be able to do. Like, because it's just... It'd be scary, dude.
I have such a skydive thing, like against heights. I don't know. At least in a plane, it's like, well, I guess in a plane it could crash too. But like, I don't know, in a jet, like, I always thought that like jets were cool and stuff. I just think that like to me personally, I think it would be too much for me to really want to do. I'm kind of I'm kind of like more safe, just in general. I also like to have like control over shit, and like. Skydiving, that's not going to be the thing, and same thing with, like, I mean, just in general, falling is not, you know, I can't fly, so, and then, like, in a jet plane, it's not like I have experience, like, if the dude that's, like, flying it dies or passes out, like, I ain't landing that shit. The best I can hope for is, like, a quick death.
You'll end up like Chappie.
Yeah, I, like, land, I burn up in the atmosphere at 5,000 degrees, and then fucking, like, I'm like, just kidding, I fucking swam to freedom.
Yeah.
It's like, what? But yeah, I don't know. What about you? You want to, you said?
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool.
You're like, I got a Groupon, let's do it. Fucking, they put us in a plane together and there's no pilot, so we have to figure it out and we just die. We just get on the runway and
like, I'll do the pedals and you steer.
they put us on the runway and the plane just fucking explodes. I'm like, well, the Buddy Shotz podcast is officially over because they're both fucking dead. Yeah, so that's an interesting question, but the answer for me is no.
Must be a no.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. But yeah. Do you have any last thoughts about this film?
No. Once again, I think like we criticized it perfectly. No mistakes, no issues. Much another perfect podcast.
Did you say we watched another perfect podcast?
We created.
Oh, that's
a
true.
Perfect podcast.
And if you're watching this and listening to this on YouTube in the future, you're watching a perfect podcast. This is what perfection looks like. So, now we must turn this over to our, as you mentioned earlier in the program, the Buddy Shotz podcast. I fucked up, okay? I don't know what's wrong with me today.
Good grief.
Buddy Shotz podcast October Spectacular. This is going to be every week. This is something different, but we're talking about 2 films, so that's definitely probably, I would assume, be longer than this, by maybe twice as long. I don't know, but starting next week, we're gonna be doing which I think we kind of like nominated 2 of these films, like Lords of Salem, Blair Witch, and then the 9th is Creature Week, which is Creature Walks Among Us, which you picked that one. What made you think of that one?
Because we watched Creature from the Black Lagoon like way back in the day, and this is one of the sequels where the creature walks among humans.
Yeah, this is like the last one. I've never seen this one before, but
I've seen it once way back in the day, and I remember it being awesome. So it'll be fun to talk about.
This one's kind of our goofy one, I think, for out of all of these, because we've also got Ernest Scared Stupid, and then it kind of
know what I mean.
It kind of gets back into the spookiness, and we have The Entity, based on the real case of The Entity, where some lady apparently got raped by a ghost. And then you picked Ghosts of Mars, so a little bit of sci-fi action there, a little bit of hip-hop and a rock and roll.
I like this.
Yeah, and then the 23rd we have Slasher Week with Halloween 3, which they're releasing the Shout Factory or Scream Factory is doing the like re-release of Halloween 3 with more stuff, and I ordered that. I pre-ordered, so
can't wait.
Yeah,
me too.
And I actually haven't seen this film in a long time, so it's actually started to become like a cult classic, because when it released at the time, people fucking hated it because it wasn't Michael Myers, and now I'm like, I think people were looking back and being like, kind of wish that it was an anthology thing instead of Michael Myers every time. But speaking of Michael Myers, yeah, baby, Halloween Kills comes out in October, and we're going to be talking about that, and kind of the whole slasher thing. And then 30th, the day before Halloween, we're going to be talking Vampire Week, and we've got From Dusk Till Dawn, which is a fucking classic, and Nosferatu in Venice, which I picked that one because I've never seen...
Not a classic.
Because we're ending it on a fucking wet fart. I've never seen this film. I picked it, and I picked it because we were at what was it, Flashback Weekend, and you were like, oh, I ordered this and they'd never sent it to me, so you bought it, the last copy from Severin, and then like over the weekend for Whorehound, they were at Whorehound and they had copies, and I bought it, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna nominate this fucking film. And you were like, and I had already said we were gonna do it and posted it up and everything, and you were like,
you sure about that?
Yeah, you were like, well, this isn't.
I had seen it.
Yeah, you were like, this isn't really a fucking film, and I was like, God damn it. So
no, it's cool, man. It'll be fun to talk about.
Yeah, you said that'll be interesting, and we'll have some more surprises throughout the month. So definitely.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, especially Witch Week, because I think we, especially myself, pick a lot of like guy movies, so it'll be cool to see like some female centric movies.
Yeah, I've never actually seen Lords of Salem before, so this will be interesting. I've actually don't don't know if I've ever seen a Rob Zombie film before, so maybe I have. But speaking of Rob Zombie, Monsters, he's making that film.
Spoiler alert, it's his best one.
What, Monsters? Or this film?
Lords of Salem? Well, Monsters will be when it comes out, but
true.
Until then, Lords of Salem.
Well, it looks like a sweet lineup. I can't wait till we do all this, honestly. Yeah, one more week, and the fun begins again. I guess it's
can't wait.
Never stopped. So I'm like, I said, oh. I said, oh. People like, I don't know anybody knows what that means, but that came from a couple weeks ago. We were on, we were getting ready for the podcast, and I don't think it got recorded or like captured, and like I think it was like you came in and said like, oh, and it like cut it off or whatever, and I was like, he said, oh.
I said hello.
Yeah, but it was like, oh. I was like, what? Oh man! But like for some reason, like I don't know why that's funny. It's so stupid, but he said, "Oh, okay, man." So
I think we should end the show by you reading that one note that made no sense.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so this is one of the notes that came out of the Book of Enoch here. It's it goes like this. Everybody's standing around, 2 people dancing. I'm like, oh man, look at this. This is a great shit.
What? That needs to be like framed, like print that out and frame it like, in one of those business photo movies.
That'll be on the back of my fucking like straight jacket when you finally commit me. I'll be like, everybody's standing around, 2 people dancing. I'm like, oh man, look at this. This is great shit. Everyone's just like, huh? Oh my god.
It doesn't sound great to me.
Doesn't even make any fucking sense. Okay.
All right, man.
Well,
see you next time.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, I think we're going to try to do this in person, and we're going to try to set up some kind of thing outside so it's spooky. So, we'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't rain. I guess if it does, we'll be doing it inside. So, see you next week, man.
See you then. Bye.
Peace.